Well guys, I'm down another hat and I'm gonna get into that pretty soon, but if you know, you know. I'll be talking about it in just a sec here. But I want to start things off with the Vancouver Giants because they cannot stop tearing it up. They're on such a roll right now. 9 in a row and a 10-game point streak. There are multiple factors I want to bring up to contribute to this team's success, but I'm going to have an upcoming video explaining in depth what's going on with the Giants here because everything is starting to click and it's just an extreme example of what this team has to offer to the WHL. Just for, some simplicity's sake of what they did this week. Justin Sordiff captured 7 points in 3 games. He's on a 9-game point streak. And while on streaks, Eric Florchuk is on to 10 games. And finally, for some notable performances, Milo Schroman with a hat trick and Trevor Longo with his first goal in a Giant sweater. The power play is also on another level. I'll be saving it and going in depth on it for the special vid. And the PK has also been just as effective. It has been such a good week. Even goaltender David Tendick has had 2 assists to go along with his 2 wins against Red Deer and Victoria. Everyone on Vancouver is just on another level right now. I can't wait to go more in depth on them later this week. And like I said last week, we're going to be seeing a lot more teams clinching, and we got 3 more this week. The Oil Kings clinched following Regina's 7-0 loss to the Tigers. They would later give the Pats a little thank you present. They lost 5-3 to Saskatchewan's Capital on Friday, and I'll also go on a little tangent here because Robbie Holmes and Riley Crane both had 4-point efforts in that game against Edmonton. They both played outstanding. Both those two, along with many others, played with so much effort still, especially being on a weaker team in Regina. It's awesome to see that these guys still care and they still give it their all each and every night. And up next, Everett was able to clinch their spot into the postseason following a 2-1 win over Seattle, and a 25-save effort by Dustin Wolf was enough to seal the deal for Everett in that case. And then finally, Kamloops clinched on Saturday after a 5-3 dub over the Royals, and I want to expand on that because this is where I lost my hat. Because Logan Stankoven, still 16 years old, he snagged himself a 4-goal game, the first 4-goal game in Kamloops since Brendan Ranford in 2011, I want to say, so about 9 years ago. It was just perfect for Stankoven, securing such a feat in front of a home crowd, including myself there. I'm still so glad I showed up to that game. I was working and I was able to show up for the 3rd period, and I'm glad I showed up because he notched himself 3 goals in the 3rd. Just a beautiful performance by the 2021 draft prospect. I love it. This is also just a nice bounce back for the Blazers after a 5-game losing skid, and with a crucial win over a BC rival, that further secures that top seed in the division. That doubleheader between the Ice and the Hurricanes that I mentioned last week, it did not disappoint at all. The first duel was a night to remember for Dylan Cozens, a beautiful shorty, a penalty shot which he sadly missed, but he still redeemed a hat trick later that game, and wrapped it all up with a puck to the mouth. And because this is hockey, he stayed in, and he still snags the first star in a 5-4 nail-biter over Winnipeg. And then the second game saw a lot more fortune for the Ice though. It was a 5-2 win on the road, an all-around great team effort. Points from 11 different individuals that night, and it wouldn't be an Ice win without a stellar performance by Liam Hughes in the cage. It was a great way to split 2 fantastic hockey games, and I'd love to see how far both these guys can go into the playoffs, because there is a chance that they could meet each other in the 2nd round or maybe even the semifinals if we're really dreaming big. Over in Alberta, it was big Mark Kashlik of the Hitmen. He recently notched the 30-goal plateau for the 2nd time in his WHL career on Wednesday after a 4-goal and 5-point performance over Regina. The Senators prospect has been a demon on the faceoff dot as usual and shows great potential to be a fine bottom 6 guy in the NHL one day. I'll tell you this, keep an eye on him when he plays for Belleville next year in the AHL. He's probably going to be one of their top guys. And while we're on the notable performances out of Calgary there, Carson Folk just toppled his career best of 26 goals in a season and now sits at 28. And I firmly believe he could possibly hit the 40 mark if he plays like he did at the beginning of the season, especially with a light schedule playing teams like Red Deer and Swift Current twice each. I think it's quite doable. It was the battle for Bedard between Moose Jaw and Tri-City, and this game took place on Valentine's Day. Obviously though, in junior hockey, I don't believe in tanking. Everybody plays in the moment. Plus, when you got 2 lower teams squaring off, it's nice to see a real competitive game between teams that usually see themselves just getting pumped. And it turned out to be a really good game. 3 unanswered for the Americans in the first, followed by 3 unanswered in the second by the Warriors. And then Martin Lang was able to put one up early in the third to give Moose Jaw a lead. Although, coolest name in the league award winner, Edge Lambert, would tie it up midway through the third. And in extreme heroic fashion, Avalanche prospect Sasha Mutala picked up the game-winning goal on the power play with 1 second left. Oh, and I think I should clarify, that was also for his hat trick. What a hero.
And he scores with 0.5 left. Hey, baby, we're doing the burger edge. Game winner.
I mentioned that Everett clinched the playoffs earlier in the video, but they continued to display their dominance over the Winterhawks, which is someone they could end up playing in the second round or the semifinals, and that's going to be a tough series, I'll tell you that. And they just keep proving that they know how to dish out wins against these guys. They took them down 4-1 this time around. Dawson Butt scored in his second game back after serving a 10-game suspension for intent to injure, and then Jaden DeRoe would respond with one of his own, but Dustin Wolf, much like he does, shuts the door for the rest of the night, making 30 saves for the W. Everett's power play has just been outstanding. It still sits atop in the league, and it was a factor in that night's game. It went 2 for 2 against the tough Portland penalty kill. And there's one more thing I want to talk about. It's not overly WHL related, but it was Nolan Foote. His rights and his contract were traded to the New Jersey Devils along with Vancouver's conditional first rounder for Blake Coleman. And I really wonder if this will affect him mentally in any way now. He comes back from his injury next week for Kelowna, and you know, being sent to a team like New Jersey, I mean, obviously they're in a huge rebuild. You're not going to be in the same organization as your brother Callan Foote anymore. It's going to be weird to see how he performs for the rest of the WHL season. I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine, but I wonder if this, you know, does something and jostles him for the rest of his NHL career. Alright, this episode's getting a little bit long here, so let's just get into the top players. And number 1 is obviously Logan Stankoven. For 5 goals this week, including that 4-goal game. If you do not have this guy in your top 10 for the 2021 draft, you're missing out. He is so good, guys. I've seen it so much this year. It just screams top 10, maybe top 5. That's how much this kid impresses me. And, I know I went a bit long there, but Mark Kashlik for his 4-goal game as well, 6 points just like Stankoven. Great job by the overager. And then Sasha Mutala for his efforts in the final seconds, securing a hat trick and his team the big W. And then for our top teams, we have Vancouver, we have Prince Albert, we have Calgary, and we have Everett. Alright, and by the time I'm uploading this video, it's going to be Family Day in British Columbia. There's going to be 7 games going on in the WHL. I'll be going to the one in Kamloops. 2 p.m. start, so I love to see it. Not working that day. It's going to be a great game between the Royals and the Blazers, a rematch. Let's see if Stankoven can score another 4. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next week. See ya.